how's it going? Just here to remind you to click the like button, subscribe here to the channel so you don't miss any videos and stay well inside our entire universe of Dragon Ball. Without further ado, let's go back to the point. Goku was trapped in a time chamber, a place where time passes differently than it does in the real world. He had been imprisoned there because he was considered a threat, since in many different realities a version of Goku caused destruction and chaos in transcendental emotions. However, Goku still didn't know it. Imprisoned Goku did the only thing he could do. He trained intensely, looking for a way to escape this prison. After months of training, Goku felt that he had reached a new level of power. He focused all of his ki and let it flow, pouring out all of his energy. He felt an incredible strength building within him, as if it was capable of destroying anything that stood in its way. Suddenly, the fabric of reality began to distort and tear around him, until it finally gave way completely. Goku was surprised and happy with the enormous power he had gained in such a short time, but his happiness didn't last long. When the fabric of reality breaks down, he finds himself in a completely different space. It was as if he had been transported to another dimension in a completely strange and unfamiliar place. He looked up and saw several time chambers capsules floating in space. When he tried to fly up, he felt that there was no place without a time chamber capsule. He was confused. He had never seen anything like this before, and he had no idea how he could escape this strange place. As he flew, looking for a way out, he felt that the time capsules were everywhere. He began to wonder how this was possible, how there could be so many capsules, and how the time chambers were contained within them. He tried to fly towards one of the capsules to see what was inside, but was stopped by an incredibly strong barrier that flew him backwards. Goku was surprised. He had never encountered such a strong barrier before. Even with all his powers, Goku couldn't destroy it. Every blow he landed was reflected back at him, making him feel the impact. He knew that something important must be inside that capsule, but he couldn't get there. Determined to find out what was sleeping there, Goku focused all his energy on trying to feel it. Goku focused all his energy on trying to feel if there was something inside the time chamber capsule. To his surprise, he felt ki extremely similar to his own. He was confused for a moment, wondering if the barrier could have reflected his own presence back at him. However, before he could think about it further, he caught the presence of another being with a similar ki to his own, hovering nearby. Goku was excited at the possibility of meeting someone. Following the person's presence, Goku wondered if this person would be able to help him or at least answer some of his questions. As he approached the mysterious figure, Goku shouted, "Hey, you! Hey!" The figure was on its back on top of a huge rock that was floating on that place. Upon hearing Goku, the figure turned around and surprised Goku. The mysterious man was the spitting image of Goku himself. The figure then says, "Amazing. Looks like I'm not the only monster around here." "Incredible! You're just like me. You're Saiyan too, right?" asked Goku. Mysterious figure said, "And who are you? How did you get here asking a bunch of questions? Say your name first, you weirdo. And who are you? How did you get here asking a bunch of questions? Say your name first, you weirdo." "But yeah, I'm a Saiyan, and apparently you are one too, right?" Goku was a little confused by the way the mysterious figure spoke, but he was excited to find someone who could help him understand what he was feeling. He then introduced himself. "I'm Goku, from Universe 7. And you?" The mysterious figure looked at Goku with an intense gaze, as if sizing him up. Goku noticed that there was something different about this figure, something he couldn't explain. Then the figure replied, "Your name is Goku. I never met someone with that name. My name is Kakarot." Goku widened his eyes in surprise. "Really? That's my second name too," he said, shaking his head. "Interesting. You must have a great life story," introduced Kakarot, with a smile on his face. Goku couldn't help but smile too, but his expression soon changed to a more heartfelt one as he remembered why he was there. "Ah, Kakarot, I have something funny to say. I have no idea what's going on. Could you explain to me, what's happening?" asked Goku, sincerely confused by the situation he found himself in. Kakarot looked even more surprised. "Hey, you don't know?" Goku shook his head. "I have no idea. Nobody told me anything. I was trapped in one of those capsules. I don't know how else these capsules are like in the time chamber," explained Goku, looking at Kakarot. Kakarot said, "I see. So you'd know absolutely nothing," he said in a worried manner. "In that case, the first thing you should know is that I am you and you are me from a parallel reality. A reality that is not separate by either time or space. It's a new dimension mirrored by another dimension, mirrored by another dimension, and so on. And that's how we all originated. Kakarot explained, glaring at Goku. Goku was stunned by Kakarot's explanation. It was hard to understand, but he knew he had to trust him since he was the only clue he had as to what's going on. And the second thing? He asked, eager for more information. We are being haunted by several gods in different realities. At some point, some Goku or Kakarot, that is, whatever the name of this other version of us is, will be captured and imprisoned in a capsule with temporal rooms, said Kakarot, his expression becoming more serious. Goku was completely stunned by Kakarot's words, but at the same time, he felt a strange animation inside him. He had never imagined that there would be so many gods behind him and his other versions. How is that even possible? Why are we even being hunted? Kakarot realized Goku's confusion and explained, Several versions of us have already caused imaginable catastrophes. We were classified as a threat at the level of the Great Senno-sama. The gods decided to hunt us all down because worse than a god of destruction is a god of antimatter. Someone who can erase life like it's nothing. A version of us, they call that. Goku was shocked by the revelation, but he also felt a twinge of pride. So you mean our potential for evolution surpasses the gods and that's why they're afraid of us? Asked Goku. Exactly, replied Kakarot excitedly. And even now you still don't realize what you've done, do you? Asked Kakarot. I don't understand anything. What did I do? Kakarot looked at Goku in awe and said, You have great potential, my friend. Anyone who escapes the capsule is no longer the same. I still don't understand. You just escaped from a capsule that imprisoned you in a temporal chamber made to punish angels and even rebellious gods. At that moment, you overcome a pseudo-god of destruction, maybe even clash with an angel, explained Kakarot. Goku looked at Kakarot in surprise. He couldn't believe he had so much power inside him, but then a feeling of dread began to build in his chest. If the gods were hunting them all down, that meant he wasn't safe anywhere. Goku looked at Kakarot in surprise. He asked him how they were going to seek to evolve with the gods all the time behind them. We won't be safe anywhere, pointed Goku. Kakarot hesitated before answering Goku, but he finally said, Yes and no. We're safe, but our other versions are still being hunted. He sighed, thinking of the challenges they still lay ahead. Our problems now are no longer the gods. After all, we've already been captured. But we only managed to get past the first problem. There are still other challenges to return to our reality. Goku looked at Kakarot worried and asked, And in the second problem, are we alone? Kakarot shook his head. No, we're not alone. There are many of us scattered around, all looking for a way to increase our power and escape from here. Kakarot looked thoughtful before adding, I heard that a version of us has been causing a lot of trouble for the gods outside. This version was the first to escape the time chamber. It became known as the Devourer of Life or God of Antimatter. He simply ended all traces of existing life by escaping from prison. Because of this, the gods decided to make a new layer of protective barrier to prevent other possible versions of us from escaping. We will have to do much more than that. We will have to do much more than just escaping the capsule. It will be something new and unprecedented. Goku was impressed by the story. This guy must be amazing. I'd like to fight him one day, he said, his expression determined. Kakarot agreed. He must be, but we have to focus on getting out of here first. Then we can think about challenging the Life Eater. Goku nodded, agreeing with his friend. Of course, we need a plan first. But the idea of fighting someone that strong is exciting. As they were talking, a mysterious figure approached. It was a version of Vegeta they had never seen before. He had a somber air and appeared to be in a state of deep meditation. Kakarot and Goku were surprised to see him, but decided to approach him to try and find out more about his history and his quest to escape that place. They approached carefully, trying not to disturb Vegeta's concentration. Hey, who are you? Asked Goku, trying to get Vegeta's attention. Vegeta opened his eyes slowly, and his expression turned into a mixture of anger and disbelief. I am the great King Vegeta, of course. How did you not realize that before? Kakarot took a step forward, trying to defuse the situation. Sorry, we didn't mean to offend you. We're just trying to escape this place and wanted to know if you had any information that could help us. Vegeta looked hesitant to share anything with them. I don't trust you. I don't know if you're our friends or enemies. Goku was in a state of confusion as he saw a version of Vegeta in front of him. He had thought that that place would only be inhabited by versions of him. But to his surprise, there was also a version of his eternal rival. Kakarot, for his part, was also surprised and stated that he had never seen any other version of Vegeta in his travels and wanderings in this world they were trapped in. In addition, Kakarot said that he never imagined that Prince Vegeta could be a king in any reality, because in his reality Vegeta always preached peace and was so meek and calm that he was a fiasco as a Saiyan warrior. This statement left Goku even more confused, as in his reality Vegeta was known as a Chaos Wrangler and a powerful Saiyan warrior. Faced with the contradiction between the two realities, Goku questioned Kakarot if he was serious, stating that it was almost unimaginable for him to think of Vegeta as a pacifist. However, the version of Vegeta present in that reality got irritated with their conversation and told them not to compare him with this pathetic version they had of him. Vegeta's presence in another reality, especially as a pacifist, was something difficult for Goku to understand, who had always known Vegeta as a fierce warrior and the constant antagonist in his battles. Kakarot's statement about Vegeta's personality in his reality seemed almost absurd to Goku, who was used to fighting the Saiyan Prince in his own reality. The conversation with the version of Vegeta present in that reality left Goku and Kakarot thoughtful for a few seconds and curious about the different versions of themselves and their friends that could exist in other realities. They began to question themselves about how the choices and decisions they have made in their own realities could have led to different outcomes in other realities. The experience of meeting a different version of a familiar character was a new experience for both Goku and Kakarot. They realized that the multiverse was vaster and more complex than they had previously imagined, and that there were countless possibilities and realities that they had not yet explored. The conversation with the version of Vegeta present there had made them more humble and curious about other realities that they still didn't know, and it opened their minds to a new understanding that would make all the difference in their near future. During Goku, Kakarot, and Vegeta's conversation, dark and lifeless beings approached them, ready for direct combat. They physically resembled Goku, wearing black masks and black clothes. They looked empty, without any life. The three warriors realized that there was something strange about these beings and prepared for battle. However, they were weak, and Goku made no effort to finish them off. The battle was not difficult and was over in a few moments. Upon starting combat, Goku showed a small portion of his power, just to warm up and prepare for more difficult battles. This served to impress everyone there, including Vegeta, who was amazed at Goku's power. Kakarot, upon seeing the power emanating from Goku, thought to himself, "That's a third of his power? Impressive, and I'll challenge him." Meanwhile, Vegeta felt inferior. He considered himself incredibly powerful, but he realized that in just that one small battle, the version he knew of Kakarot wasn't even close to a third of Goku's power. Vegeta's facial expressions changed to a mixture of surprise and admiration. There was respect and maturity that we didn't know expressed in his gaze. Kakarot was visibly perplexed by the appearance of the dark and lifeless beings that attacked them. With a confused expression, he asked Goku where these beings were and if he had seen anything similar before. Goku shook his head, saying that he had never seen anything like this. Vegeta, who seemed less surprised by the situation, explained that these beings were common in that place, and that they always appeared suddenly. They are not strong and do not have battle intelligence. It is as if they were lifeless dolls following orders, but their origin was still unknown. Meanwhile, the beings' bodies began to dissipate, turning into dust. Unfortunately, this prevented any kind of more detailed investigation into the origin of these mysterious beings. Goku sighed and commented that there seemed to be more questions than answers in that place. He looked around, taking in the desolate landscape and dark, unsettling space. It was like they were in a completely different world that they were used to. Kakarot, for his part, seemed excited at the prospect of new challenges and adventures. He turned to Goku and said with a smile on his face, "Well, at least we're not going to get bored here, are we?" However, Vegeta remained silent and seemed to be mulling something over in silence. His expression was serious and concentrated, as if he was analyzing every detail of his surroundings. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the air, coming from nowhere. "Do you think you are capable of surviving in this place?" The three warriors turned to see who was speaking, but found no one. The voice continued. This is a place where only the strongest survive. The weak are quickly weeded out and forgotten. Goku frowned and replied in a loud voice, "No matter how strong you are, there will always be challenges bigger than us. But we are willing to face them and overcome them, whatever this place has in store for us." His expression was determined and courageous, as it always in his battles. The voice continued to speak with a threatening tone. "You will see that this place is not for the faint of heart. Those who are not prepared for all that this world has to offer will be quickly shattered and eliminated. You will not be able to return to your weak realities like that." Kakarot smiled and confidently replied, "We don't need an easy way out. We're here to meet challenges head on and show what we're capable of." Vegeta finally spoke, his voice full of determination. "Let's show these beings that we're not mere prisoners, but Saiyan warriors who do not back down from anything." The voice finally felt silence, leaving the warriors. Vegeta took a deep breath and finally swallowed his pride. He knew he had underestimated Goku's power, but that feeling burned in his chest. He knew that this was the flame that would make him stronger, and he decided that he would join Goku and Kakarot. Goku was excited by the news without following. They flew through space together looking for a planet to rest and refuel. After a few hours, they finally found a planet that looked familiar, almost like Earth. They landed safely and began to explore the area in search for food. Goku expressed his joy at finding fresh food, as he hadn't eaten real food for a long time. He picked up a juicy apple and took a big bite, making the juice run out of the corner of his mouth. Goku did not know, however, his notion of time was quite distorted. But he was more than 60 years trapped in a temporal capsule. In his world, he had only spent a few months. Vegeta, still processing his feeling about Goku's power, picked up a strange fruit and examined it carefully. Meanwhile, Kakarot was admiring the surrounding scenery. He realized that this planet, like the place they were in before, looked empty and deserted. There were only a few capsules there too. There were no signs of intelligent life or civilization. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound coming from one of the nearby bushes. They quickly positioned themselves in combat stance, ready to face any threat. Vegeta was prepared to show off his new level of strength after his previous epiphany. But when the bush moved, they came across a small furry creature that looked harmless. The creature stared at them curiously, looking more confused than threatening. Goku, with a smile laughing at the situation, commented, "We're on a full alert, which is even funny." Goku then looked a step forward and held out his hand, offering a piece of fruit to the creature. The creature sniffed the food and looked satisfied. She reached out and picked the fruit carefully, eating it with relish. This made the three warriors feel more at home on the planet. As they rested, the three warriors continued talking. Goku asked Vegeta why he was imprisoned there, and if he had encountered other versions of himself. Vegeta explained that in fact the gods imprisoned him for the same reason as everyone else there. There was confusion involving Kakarot from Vegeta's universe. He had a soul exchange ability, where he invaded another person's body and stole their vitality to strengthen his own. In this way, he was reborn within the host. But this time, Kakarot didn't expect Vegeta's warrior spirit to be stronger than his own. This resulted in a soul battle that ended up leaving Kakarot's soul trapped in Vegeta's body. Vegeta then asked Goku, "How did you manage to become so strong? I've always considered myself a powerful warrior, but you're far beyond what I could imagine." Goku gave a humble smile. "I've always sought to outdo myself and hone my skills, and of course, I've had a lot of help from my friends and mentors along the way." Kakarot approached the two, in all of Goku's power. "I've always knew you were strong, Goku, but I never thought you were this strong. I can't wait to fight you." Goku smiled at Kakarot. "It will be an exciting battle for sure. But for now, we have to focus on how to get out of here." Changing scenes, Beerus and Whis were reunited with the Z Fighters to Goku's criticism of the Z Fighters. Beerus looked worried and with a closed expression. He knew the situation was beyond him. Even though he was a god of destruction, he couldn't take on 12 gods of destruction at the same time. Furthermore, the decision was taken by Zeno-sama from another reality. Beerus, with a closed and worried expression, said,
This is beyond my capabilities. Even I, a god of destruction, wouldn't be able to handle 12 gods of destruction at the same time. Furthermore, the decision was made by a Zeno-sama from another reality. I'm useless before Zeno.
Whis, with a serious look and thoughtful expression, agreed with Beerus, saying, even if we appealed in universal laws, you would still be useless, given the size of the problem at hand. Once Zeno-sama decides something, nobody objects. A heavy silence fell over the room as Vegeta, Gohan, Krillin, Master Roshi, and the other Z fighters were indignant and frustrated that they couldn't help Goku. But Whis continued. There is an entire reality with not only one Zeno-sama, but also with 12 gods of destruction hunting all Gokus and their variations existing in all universes. Everyone was shocked by this situation. Master Roshi, meanwhile, was sitting in his chair. His head resting in his hand, he seemed to be lost in thought, perhaps remembering old battles and his departed friends. Suddenly, Krillin got up from his chair and approached Whis and Beerus. I want you to help Goku. Even if it's impossible, I can't stand idle by, he said with determination. Beerus looked at Krillin with disdain and said, You don't understand the gravity of this situation. Even if I, a god of destruction, can do anything, what do you think a mere human can do? Krillin was not let down. I understand the situation is serious, but I can't just sit here and do nothing. Goku is my best friend and I won't abandon him. Vegeta, who had been silent until then, looked at Krillin with a mixture of admiration and disdain. You have no idea what you're up against. But if you're willing to take the risk, I'll accompany you. Meanwhile, Whis looked at the scene with a small smile on his face. He seemed to be pleased with Krillin and Vegeta's attitude. This is what I expected to see. Brave warriors, willing to risk everything for their friends. Whis still wasn't done talking. With eyes shining with enthusiasm, he said, But there's one thing that comes to the point of being unbelievable. In one reality, Son Goku is the strongest and most omnipotent being. Faced with 12 universes of this reality, not even Zeno-sama, a deity, has the power to subjugate this version of Son Goku. The Z fighters gasped, processing this information. Silence fell again in the room as everyone processed the news that Whis had just revealed. The expressions of all the Z fighters was one of the most shock and disbelief as their minds struggled to grasp the magnitude of the situation. Gohan was the first to break the silence, his voice shaking slightly. Wait. So you're saying that there's a Goku in another reality who's even stronger than my father? Whis nodded, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Yes, exactly! In this reality, Son Goku is the strongest and most omnipotent being in the face of the 12 universes! Whis repeated. Vegeta, who until now had remained silent, clenched his fist so tightly that the snapping of his fingers could be heard. And why we haven't heard about this before? Why didn't you tell anyone about this other Goku? He snarled at Whis. Because I only found out about it myself recently, Whis replied calmly. And also because, up until now, we've never needed that other Goku's help. But given the current circumstances, we might need his help. Whis says that Goku managed to defeat all his enemies, becoming the most powerful being in the universe. But something happened. Goku wasn't satisfied with the fact that he won everything and everyone. He wanted more. He wanted to fight someone who could truly challenge him, so he challenged Zeno-sama, the all-powerful ruler of all realities. All of a sudden, Beerus starts laughing. Everyone looks at him, not understanding why he's laughing. He explained that he now understands why Goku is so special. He is not just a strong warrior. He is a warrior who is always looking for the next challenge, who is always looking to be better, who is always looking to overcome himself. That's why he's the most powerful of all. That's why he's a true god. The Z fighters are silent, thinking about what they just heard. They know the situation is hopeless, but now they have a new hope. They know that if Goku was able to challenge Zeno-sama in one reality, he will also be able to find a solution to this situation. Krillin took the floor, his voice tight and determined. And what are we waiting for? Let's find that other Goku and ask for his help. Then Vegeta stood up and spoke with determination. Then we have to go to this reality and find this Goku. It may be our only hope, Vegeta explained. Gohan agreed. Yes, let's find this Goku and find out how he became so strong.
But how are we gonna find him? Asked Piccolo, his brow furrowed and worried. We have no idea where to start looking for him. We smiled, knowing that they had finally found a solution to Goku's problem, but Beerus still had his doubts. But how are we going to get there? What if this Goku doesn't want to help us? Asked Beerus. We scratched his chin thoughtfully. I have an idea, but it will be a very extremely dangerous journey, and it will require all of you to be willing to risk your lives. The Z fighters exchanged glances, knowing the situation was desperate enough to warrant any risk. We're ready for anything, said Krillin. Then let's go, we said, leading the group out of the conference room and into the garden. He looked up at the sky, watching the twinkling stars. We're going to need a spaceship to travel between realities, so I can go to the other Gokus. And I know exactly where to find one. After the meeting, Whis decided to seek help from Barrow, the legendary creator who provides Zenosama with toys. He knew that Barrow would be the best person to build the spaceship capable of traveling between realities, and so he set out on his quest. Meanwhile, Goku continued to train with his new teammates, always looking to become stronger. He knew the only way to survive these challenges was to reach new levels of power, but that took hard training and unwavering determination. Meanwhile, Whis has finally found Barrow. He was working in his workshop, surrounded by countless toys and objects that he himself had created. Barrow was a small, thin man with a frail and a wrinkled appearance. But behind his fragile appearance, there was an incredible strength. Capable of creating anything from raw material, he greatly resembled the Master Kami. Whis explained to Barrow what he needed, and Barrow agreed to create the spaceship for him. He immediately set to work, using his incredible powers to create the perfect vessel. The spaceship that Barrow created was unlike any other ship ever seen. It was made of a special alloy of metals, which allowed it to traverse entire universes without suffering damage. Furthermore, he was equipped with the most advanced technology in the universe, capable of overcoming any obstacles that came his way. When the spaceship was ready, Whis immediately took it to the Z Warriors. They were awed by the craft, marveling at the beauty and power it exuded. Whis explained that the spaceship was the only way for the Z fighters to face the gods of destruction from other universes, other realities. He explained that the ship was equipped with advanced weapons, defense and propulsion technologies, capable of meeting any challenge that came its way, facing head-on even with the power of an angel. Whis added, Unfortunately, we cannot accompany you in this trip, as it would be going against Zenosama's orders. Vegeta was delighted with the ship and immediately prepared himself for the fight that was going to follow. He knew he would have to be strong, determined, and fearless to face the gods of destruction from other universes and realities. But he was up for the challenge. With the spaceship at his side, Vegeta and the Z Fighter set out on their journey, determined to reach new levels of power and become the strongest. Meanwhile, in the dimensional prison, after escaping from the capsule that imprisoned Goku in the time chamber, Goku was training hard with his new companions to be able to return to his reality, completely unaware of what was happening on the other realities. And so, the Z Fighter's journey to find the strongest Goku of all realities began. While Goku is intensely training with Kakarot and King Vegeta in an unknown dimension, the three are prepared for the inevitable confrontation with the other Gokus from other realities. During training, Goku and Kakarot began to compare the transformations they know. Goku explains how he became a Super Saiyan God, while Kakarot shows off his Super Saiyan 4 form. They decide to test their skills and an intense battle ensues. Goku transforms into Super Saiyan God and Kakarot transforms into Super Saiyan 4. The two fight in equal terms, each using their own techniques and strategies. The fight goes on for hours with no clear winner. Goku is impressed by Kakarot's strength, as he manages to stay on his feet even after receiving the most powerful blow. Kakarot, for his part, marvels at Goku's ability to precisely control and direct his energy. After this fight, Goku and Kakarot talk about what they just experienced. Goku says that Super Saiyan God is more efficient in combat as it allows him to keep his ki within himself. making him harder for enemies to detect. Kakarot agrees, but argues that the Super Saiyan 4 form allows him more freedom in his actions and movements.
But hey, my partner, what do you believe and what do you think about all this? Will the Z fighters find that powerful Goku? Will Goku merge with Kakarot? What can happen in the midst of all this? After the intense fight, Kakarot was quite impressed with Goku's transformation into a Super Saiyan God. He approached his friend and asked if he knew how to merge with that form. Goku, excited, confirmed that yes, and said that it would be interesting to see the result of the fusion. Vegeta, who had been watching the conversation, intervened and said that the fight had been impressive, but there was something he didn't understand: how to transform into a Super Saiyan. Goku and Kakarot were stunned by Vegeta's revelation. After all, he was extremely strong even without a transformation, even going so far as to clash with the powerful Super Saiyan 2. Goku and Kakarot decided to explain how the transformation worked to Vegeta and began training him so that he could reach that form. Over the days, Goku and Kakarot began to teach Vegeta about the different forms of transformation, each with its own particularities. Vegeta, while initially reluctant, has shown himself to be dedicated to learning and pushing his own limits. They trained together tirelessly until finally, Vegeta managed to achieve Super Saiyan form. Meanwhile, Goku and Kakarot continued to talk about fusing into a Super Saiyan God. They knew it would not be an easy task, but they were confident in their abilities to pull off this unprecedented feat. When the time finally came, Goku and Kakarot geared up and performed the fusion, transforming into an incredibly powerful warrior. The result fusion form left all the other warriors speechless. It was a perfect blend of Goku and Kakarot's abilities and powers, with unrivaled strength. Vegeta, who had just achieved Super Saiyan form, felt even more motivated to train and reach new levels of power. The merger also opened up space for learning. Goku and Kakarot had the opportunity to improve themselves even more, learning new techniques and combat strategies. They trained together and challenged each other, always looking to improve and overcome their limits. After finishing their training, Goku, Kakarot, and Vegeta are faced with 10 unknown beings that invade the planets where they are. These creatures seem to have skills similar to Saiyans and immediately try to steal the vitality from the environment, leaving the three warriors alert to the situation. Without giving names or any kind of dialogues, the variants attack furiously, but they are no match for the combined strength of Goku, Vegeta, and Kakarot. The three launch powerful blows and combat techniques, easily defeating the variants and protecting the planet's vitality. The battle is quick and soon ends with the victory of the Saiyans. After the battle, Goku, Kakarot, and Vegeta are left wondering who those creatures were and where they came from, but they have no answers. After the battle, then, the three warriors approached the defeated variants, curious to find out who these mysterious invaders were and where they came from. The variants appear to the unconscious but still alive. Goku approaches the first variant and tries to wake him up. "Hey, who are you?" he asks. The variant doesn't respond, just stares at Goku with a blank stare. Kakarot then tries a more direct approach. "Why did you want to steal from here? Speak up!" he says, raising his voice a little. None of these variants responds, and Vegeta starts to get impatient.
"This is a waste of time. They're just weak worms that came here to steal our vitality. They have nothing useful for us,"
he says, crossing his arms. But Kakarot is persistent. He knows that there's more to this invasion than just vitality theft. He goes through his stuff and finds some instructions. After a few minutes, he makes a startling discovery. They were sent by a mad scientist who wanted to steal the planet's vitality for his own experiments. They didn't even know what they were doing here, says Kakarot, surprised. Goku looks at Kakarot, impressed. "This is crazy. Who would be able to do something like that?" he asks. Vegeta, however, looks more annoyed than surprised.
"It doesn't matter to us who is responsible. They were a weak obstacle we just got over with. Let's just get out of here,"
he says, starting to walk away. But Kakarot isn't ready to give up. He knows there's more to be discovered about this invasion, and he wants to find out the truth. "I think we should track the scientist down and find out who he is. He could be dangerous," he argues. Goku agrees. Kakarot is right. "If there's someone behind this, we need to know who he is and what he wants," he says, looking to Vegeta for support. Vegeta looks reluctant, but ends up giving in.
"Okay. Let's follow this lead, but I want this to be quick. I don't want to waste more of my time on this."
Kakarot raises the possibility that the mad scientist responsible for the variants could be on one of the nearby planets, stating that he certainly is strong to have turned so many variants into his minions. He suggests that they should be careful. as the scientists could be draining the vitality of other variants as well. I believe the best way to find out where the mad scientist is by going to the nearby planets around here. He must be around. And he must be quite strong to have turned so many variants into his minions, says Kakarot. But we need to be careful, because he might be draining the vitality of other variants. Judging by the strength of the variants we defeated so far, I believe we can handle him. Vegeta.
I agree. Not just anyone can do that. The variants look so lifeless. As if they have been drained of their vitality.
Exactly, Vegeta. I believe the scientist is stealing the vitality of the variants to strengthen himself. But is this possible? That is a good question, Kakarot. Perhaps he can turn vitality into power.
How does he benefit from that? Why would he be stealing the planet's vitality?
Maybe he's planning to use that power to escape. Vegeta was completely enraged. Just imagine a Saiyan warrior using a cowardly strategy of stealing others' vitality to become stronger. His face grew grim and closed. His brows furrowed and nostrils flaring with anger. His eyes gleamed with a savage intensity as his muscles tensed, ready to act at any moment. Vegeta was a proud Saiyan warrior, and his honor was something he took very seriously. The thought of a breed of his stooping to such cowardly and despicable behavior angered him in beyond measure. He couldn't accept that someone would use such dishonorable tactics to become stronger, especially when that strength is gained at the expense of other lives. The mere idea of someone tarnishing the name of Saiyan with such an attitude was enough to make the veins of his neck throb with anger. He fought with all his might to control his anger and not act impulsively. But his dislike for the scientist and his actions only increased by the second.
I've changed my mind. I'm going after that bastard. Can allow a vermin like him to use our fellow creatures to increase his power. It's a dishonor to our race. I won't rest until I put down in his place.
Bro, how bipolar, Vegeta. First you didn't want to get involved, and now you're determined to chase this mad scientist? I understand your anger. It also makes me angry just imagining it. But we're still not sure if that's what happens. The Three Saiyans then decides to go from planet to planet until they find the scientist. Goku and Vegeta and Kakarot fly towards the nearest planet with the golden aura of a Super Saiyan around their bodies, prepared for an immediate flight as they cut through space. They maintain a constant speed, their hair and clothes rippling with gusty energy. Is it the lack of air? The atmosphere seems heavy, and the only one who notices is Kakarot. It seems that Vegeta is really annoyed by the situation. Goku turns to Vegeta and asks, "So what do you think we're going to find there?" Vegeta responds with a serious look.
I don't know, and I'm ready to take this mad scientist down.
Kakarot nods in agreement. Yes, we have to finish him off before he does more harm to others. During the journey, they pass through a colorful nebula with twinkling stars in every direction. Goku points at her in awe. Wow, that's amazing! I've never seen anything like this before. Vegeta responds with a crooked smile.
And why are you always distracted by little things like that? Sometimes you look like a real idiot. Is it the power that makes you so confident?
Kakarot interrupts the debate with a gesture.
Calm down.
We're not going to start fighting now. We have a mission to accomplish. I know that Vegeta is fierce, but let him take it out on the right person. Goku is like that, and you must have already noticed. Goku looks at Vegeta seriously and says, Vegeta, I understand the gravity of the situation. I know that there are times when we need to deal with problems seriously and others when we can have fun. But even when we're facing difficulties, we must not ignore the beauties of creation. Vegeta frowns, looking a little confused.
What are you talking about, Kakarot?
He asks. I'm saying that even if we're facing the evil, we can still find beauty in life, replies Goku. We can't just lose joy and hope just because there are problems to solve. If we are able to see the beauty in the world, we can find more strength to fight. Vegeta looks at Goku for a moment, looking thoughtful, then gives a nod.
I see what you mean,
he says.
And I think you're right. We shouldn't lose sight of what's important in life, even when we're facing difficulties.
Goku smiles, looking relieved. I'm glad you agree with me, Vegeta, he says. Together, we can face anything. Vegeta thought to himself as they flew through his nearby planet.
I must learn to contain my anger. I can't let it control me. Goku has a very intelligent lifestyle. He knows how to enjoy life and still be a strong warrior. Perhaps I should follow his example and learn to balance my emotions.
Vegeta sighs, reflecting on his own failings and how he could improve as a person and a warrior. They keep flying until they finally reach the desired planet. The ground is covered with sharp rocks and dense fog hangs over the thin air. They land in a safe spot. After the fruitless investigation on the previous planet, Goku, Vegeta, and Kakarot set off towards another planet in search of clues about the mysterious scientist. Upon arrival, they realized that the planet was completely dead, with no life form. Vegeta felt a deep sadness at the sight of the devastation that had been brought here, while Kakarot muttered words of regret over the planet's demise. They landed on the planet's surface and began to investigate. As they walked, they could see the desolate, barren landscape stretching out before them. Vegeta was particularly disturbed by the destruction, thinking that the Saiyan race valued strength and conquest, but that this could never justify the complete destruction of an entire planet. That's not what happened in my reality. The Saiyans there did it quietly.
And how is our honor in the midst of all this? A Saiyan without his honor is nothing. We don't have time to whine. Let's go.
The rest of the trip passed in silence, each one lost on their own thoughts and reflections on life and the universe. They knew the journey to find the mysterious scientist would be long and difficult, but they were determined to keep going, even if it meant facing more headache and loss along the way. The warriors arrived on the planet and immediately go to investigate the place. The surface is rocky and arid, with few plants and animals. They walk for a few moments until they reach a hidden entrance surrounded by large rocks.
Vegeta says, "This must be the planet. We finally found the place we've been looking for so long."
Goku agreed, saying, "Yes, this seems like the right place. Let's investigate."
Kakarot said,
I think this is the place. It's a perfect location for someone who wants to isolate themselves from the rest of the universe." The three warriors began to scour the planet for more clues. After hours of searching, Vegeta said,
"Look at that entrance! It has to be there!"
Goku looked at the entrance and asked, "Why don't we feel anyone's presence? It could be that the scientist is stronger than we imagined."
Vegeta replied, "Maybe he's hiding his energy, or maybe he's found a way to hide it completely."
Kakarot added, "No matter what he's doing, we need to find and stop him before it's too late." The three warriors agreed and headed towards the entrance. They were ready to face any challenge that came their way. The warriors make their way down the dark hallway. Their eyes adjusting to the gloom as they take in the rough stone walls around them. Electric wires dangling like tentacle snakes across the low ceiling and wind around the walls, lit sporadically by dim bulbs. The ground is uneven, with loose rocks and strange equipment littering the path. The smell of chemicals hangs in the air, and the humidity is palpable. As they proceed, the hallway opens into a larger room. It is large and dimly lit, with a metal table in the center filled with laboratory equipment. The walls are lined with shelves filled with vials and vials of unknown substances. There's a workstation in one corner with a microscope and computer screen displaying intricate graphs and diagrams. As they survey the room, an uneasy feeling begins to settle on their hearts. The atmosphere is heavy and muted, interrupted only by the soft hum of equipment. They know they're in the right place, but the absence of any living presence makes them uneasy. Vegeta eyed the shelves filled with vials suspiciously.
"What do you think these substances are?"
he asks Goku. Goku shrugs his shoulder. No idea, but I'm more interested in finding out what happened to the scientists who lived here." Kakarot looks around grimly. "I think we better watch out. This place has a bad feel to it." They continue to explore the lab, carefully moving through the scattered equipment. Every step seems to echo through the empty space, and the warriors feel more and more isolated, but they know they can't give up. The door creaked loudly as it opened, causing the warriors to pause for a moment. The darkness inside the room was dense and seemed to swallow what little light came through the opening in the door. The three fighters exchanged a quick look before entering the room. The smell of coffee, mixed with the chemical odor, grew stronger and more intense, almost overpowering. They made their way cautiously down the hall, scanning the surrounding walls and equipment for clues as to the purpose of the place. Suddenly, they hit a split in the path, and Vegeta points to the right. They turned left, following the hallway past empty rooms and rooms with mysterious gadgets. The tension mounted as they approached the large metal door at the end of the hall. Vegeta took a step forward and turned the knob, cautiously pushing the door open. The metallic sound echoed through the room as the door slowly opened, revealing a dark and imposing room. The atmosphere inside the room was dark and dense, giving the feeling that something terrible might be waiting for them. The dim light coming in through the windows wasn't enough to illuminate the entire space, making it difficult to clearly see what was there. The warriors entered the room, their hands ready for combat. They looked around, noticing several strange pieces of equipment and work tables scattered around the room. The smell of coffee was now stronger and mixed with a chemical smell. As they continued to explore the room, Vegeta spotted a door at the end. He stepped forward quickly and turned the handle, pushing the door hard. The next room was lit by a bright, strong light, and the warriors felt a shiver run down their spine as they saw a sinister figure holding an orb of life energy. As the warriors approached the sinister figure, they are able to see its appearance more clearly. Its eyes are bright and red, and its skin is pale and tight over the bones of its face. His clothes are tattered and dirty, and he looks like he's been there a long time. His hair is disheveled and tangled, and his maniacal laughs continue to echo through the room. As the figure absorbs the orb's energy, the warriors notice that the room begins to vibrate and shake. The strange equipment starts to beep and the light starts to flicker, creating an even more tense atmosphere. Vegeta is the first to react, speaking in a loud voice.
What is this? What is this guy doing? We need to stop him!
Goku, always the peacemaker, tries to approach the sinister figure calmly. But it stopped when the figure raises its free hand and fires a bolt of energy in his direction. Goku barely manages to dodge it, but the beam hits one of the opening tables, causing it to explode into pieces. Now the warriors realize that they're in a situation of real danger, and they begin to prepare for battle. Kakarot assumes a fighting stance. His hands begin to shake with energy as he prepares to attack. Vegeta follows suit, ready to show off his combat skills. Goku, for his part, decides to try talking to the figure, speaking in a serious and confident voice.
Stop it now! We don't know who you are, but we're here to stop your evil plans!
The sinister figure chuckles again. Still holding the life energy orb in his hands. You have no idea what I'm capable of. I am more powerful than you realize. I won't stop until I get what I want. With those words, the battle begins. The warriors battle the sinister figure, each using their unique abilities to try to defeat him. The life energy orb begins to glow brightly, releasing waves of energy that affect the entire room. The energy from the orb, which the sinister scientist was observing, begins to leak out and spread throughout the laboratory and then across the entire planet. The scientist's original plan did not foresee this burst of energy, and he begins to worry about the unforeseen consequences of this release. The energy causes an explosion that destroys everything around it, but also brings life in abundance. The energy causes an explosion that destroys everything around it, but also brings life in abundance to the dry and arid planet, which begins to flourish with lush flora. Meanwhile, the battle against the scientists continues intense. Each of the warriors uses their unique abilities to try and defeat him, but the energy released by the orb is wreaking havoc in the lab room, which begins to crumble. The intense and bright waves of energy spread with speed through the environment, affecting not only the room but the entire surroundings. The roar of energy is deafening, making it difficult to hear anything else. As the warriors try to shield themselves from the impact, they see the scientist's face more clearly. He is undoubtedly a variant of Goku, but something feels odd about him. He wears a pair of round glasses and a strange oriental-style outfit. which looks like a mix of traditional and modern attire. His features are familiar, but his eyes shine with an intensity that makes warriors wonder what the scientist's true identity is. What is his true intent? Suddenly, one of the energy waves hits Goku full on, knocking him to the ground. He begins to feel intense pain on his body and notices that something strange is happening to him. The orb's life energy seems to be merging with his own, causing his strength to increase significantly. Goku stands up and feels incredible energy coursing through his entire body. With the dust starting to settle, the warriors look around and try to identify who is responsible for the explosion. It is then that they are able to visualize more clearly the face of the scientist, who reveals himself as And. His eyes seems to reflect a mixture of determination and guilt, as if he's been fighting an internal battle before making his decision. And then formally introduces himself to the warriors, asking who they are and what they're doing in his lab. The warriors, still stunned by the explosion, exchange suspicious glances before starting to respond. Kakarot grows more and more confused and irritated by An's words. He cannot believe that the scientist is trying to exonerate himself from responsibility for what just happened. With an expression of disbelief on his face, he turns to An and questions him again. You mean you weren't responsible for this? You were controlling the energy. You made this happen. How can you now say it wasn't you? Explains Kakarot, visibly indignant, and responds promptly, saying that he did not cause the explosion and that something must have gone wrong with his experiments. Vegeta, still irritated by the situation, approaches the scientist and accuses him of lying, saying that he saw with his own eyes what happened in the experimenting room, and raises his hand and surrenders and tries to calm the Prince of Saiyan's high spirits. He explains that although the explosion was caused by the experiment, he had no intention of harming anyone and something must have gone wrong in the execution. Kakarot, still confused by the scientist's words, approaches him and asks how is this possible, that he was not responsible for the explosion, and sighs and explains that he suffers from a rare condition known as dissociative identity disorder, which causes a split in his personality, causing him to have no control over his action at times. The warriors are stunned by the revelation and Vegeta lets out an ironic laugh. He says that this story seems to be made up to cover up the scientist's mistake, and that he still believes that And is thoroughly responsible for what happened. Vegeta had been holding back his fury since arriving on this planet, trying to maintain a firm and controlled posture in front of the mysterious scientist. But upon hearing And's words, the anger built up inside the Saiyan finally snapped. Without hesitation, he attacked the scientist with a series of powerful blows. However, to his surprise, And didn't look weak at all. He could block and dodge Vegeta's blows with ease, and his counterattacks were precise and quick. Even using all of his strength, Vegeta couldn't do any significant damage to the scientist. Kakarot watched the fight from afar, perplexed by And's ability to defend himself from Vegeta's attack. He thought maybe Vegeta doesn't have a chance. 3 years have passed since the Tournament of Power. All universes went through moments of peace. Zeno-sama always told Daishikan that he was excited for the moment when a new Tournament of Power would happen. Everything seemed to be happening with extreme tranquility, but this does not always appear to be the true reality. All the gods of destruction felt extremely intrigued by what happened in the Tournament of Power. They were unhappy with Immortal making idiotic decisions, and because of his fault, he managed to convince Zeno-sama, the creator of everything, to create a tournament capable of destroying all universes at the whim of the multiverse. The gods are infuriated knowing the relationship between Goku and Zeno-sama, being fully aware that Goku has the free will to arrive at the King's Palace whenever he wants and free permission to talk to Zeno-sama or even play and ask to whatever he wants whenever he wants. What was even more strange was the fact that Zeno-sama had shown himself totally partial in the tournament, leaving his support for Universe 7 declared. After all these events and battle against Broly, Cell Max, and several other villains that emerged, the gods continued to look at Universe 7's performance and especially Goku's performance. At this moment, all the gods of destruction gather and say to Beerus that the great failure of mortals will always be Son Goku. If everyone analyzes it, everywhere Son Goku goes, a catastrophe ends up happening. Even in the periods while Beerus slept, the Saiyan's arrival on Earth, and after all the events he went through, there's something strange with this Saiyan. It is not normal for a warrior of this class to always be able to emerge victorious from extremely difficult battles, and even the death itself he will conquer. It even seemed that another certain supreme god has been watching him from the beginning, so that he's always saving himself with another kind of ultimate goal. Beerus does not agree 100% with the ideal of all other gods due to whether or not it was not for Goku and his friends. Perhaps Universe 7, like several other universes, could not exist anymore. But in the rule of the gods, if a god turns against all other gods, all gods involved rebel against that god and eliminate it. At that moment, it was already clear that all the gods of destruction saw Goku as a target and knew that if he was not eliminated, natural catastrophe would still happen, as if it were a coincidence on Earth, and would still cause other universes then not to be eliminated. If it was not for that mortal's attitudes, they would never end up suffering just like they did in a tournament of power. Beerus enraged all the gods. He ends up understanding the gods' decision and say that it will be done, but it will be done his way. Beerus says that he will find a way to seal Goku so that he can't escape a dimension, and make an excuse for Zeno-sama of the Great Priest, because killing the Saiyan due to the relationship he has with Zeno-sama can still create something more devastating. The gods agree. On Earth, all the Z warriors were having fun and peaceful days with their families while Goku and Vegeta carried out their training. Beerus appears in the middle of Goku and Vegeta's training. Goku is all happy to see Beerus and greets him with a tone of naivety. But Vegeta looks at the god of destruction with a look of strangeness to see that the god of destruction came to Earth alone, without Whis. Vegeta already suspected that Beerus was up to something, because most of the times that the god of destruction appeared in Universe 7 or in Earth, it was next to his angel to take Goku and Vegeta for training or for a mission, but this time he was alone. Beerus looks at Goku and speaks.
Goku, I need you to come with me in the time chamber.
Goku, with a naive face, is happy to imagine that Beerus is wanting to train Goku. At that time, Vegeta tells Goku not to go because unlike before, he's noticing something different about Beerus. Beerus says that Goku doesn't have any choices, that if he doesn't obey him, the whole Earth will be destroyed and he will be blamed for that. Vegeta speaks.
What is happening right now? What's going on through Beerus' head?
After the dialogue between the god of destruction and the Saiyans, Beerus leaves Vegeta in the training place and advances with Goku in the time chamber. At the entrance of the time chamber, Goku realizes that Beerus did not want to enter and questions the reason for the decision of the god of destruction. Beerus keeps a straight face and tells Goku to just go in. Goku starts to laugh and then changes his face to a serious one and says that he already knew that sooner or later this would happen. He already thought it was strange when the entire Universe 9 decided to attack him in the Tournament of Power, and he already imagined that from a certain time he would be the target of the gods. Beerus continues to maintain his straight face without saying a word. Goku says that if Beerus is so sure the other gods are right, he should end Goku's existence right now, since he's such a threat, otherwise things could get worse later. Goku keeps looking at Beerus, but Beerus doesn't say a word. So Goku laughs again and says he already understands and ends up entering the time chamber. Upon entering the time chamber, he hears the sound of a huge explosion. This huge explosion destroys the entrance to the time chamber, trapping Goku. Beerus says,
"It's done."
At that moment, Vegeta appears in front of the time chamber, saying that what Beerus did was a big mistake. Even if it came from a decision chosen by several other gods, Kakarot's steps go far beyond that. A mortal who managed to activate the Ultra Instinct and impressed all other gods will never be stopped with a ceiling. Unless Beerus the Destroyer was afraid, alongside the other guys, to challenge the mortal that impressed even Zeno-sama. Beerus remains serious and replies that he has nothing to resolve with Vegeta, that what he needed to do was already done, and if he had one more thing against the Destroyer's decision, he could resolve it with him in his fists. Vegeta smiles and says that he won't need to do anything, just wait and time will tell. Beerus returns to his planet. Meanwhile, in the time chamber, an angry Goku begins to reflect and says, "It was just like that time. I remember like it was yesterday, while I was fighting Hit in the Universe 6 tournament. Mr. Beerus and his brother Choppa were fighting each other, saying that one would destroy the other's universe as if they were banal things. So many lives eliminated by the whims of gods. So many catastrophes occurring, and now without any obvious explanation they decide to arrest me, as if I were a greater threat to everyone. This has already gone too far." Goku begins to raise his powers more and more in the time chamber and activates his Ultra Instinct. Goku from now on lives with a new goal.
Now everyone will know for better or worse who I am. Everyone will know the real Son Goku. Beerus will regret not killing me. If his idea was to end me, this silly was the worst choice. Now I will get more and more powerful until the moment I can get out of here. Now it's time for revenge!
Goku had been imprisoned by Beerus due to the orders of all the other gods of destruction within the time chamber. Vegeta had not agreed with the attitudes that had been taken by the gods of destruction, but due to the stark difference in powers, Vegeta could not do anything. Vegeta, in his thoughts, says,
"What is this madness that is happening here? It will not stay like this. Soon we will show that we Saiyans are capable of, and all the gods of destruction will regret it. The game of chess will show that even a mere pawn can defeat the king and queen."
Beerus would start to analyze everything that was happening and says,
"I'm sorry, Goku, but I didn't mean to do this to you. I know that soon the decision of all the other gods of destruction managed to cause a great collapse to happen. A decision that comes straight from the gods of destruction ends up becoming something totally catastrophic. When we begin to realize that not always mortals stand before the gods, if the dream of the prophecy of the gods of destruction really turns out the way I imagine it, we could have big problems in the future. I know very well what the risks are, but I will know how to deal with the consequences."
Time passes. Vegeta in his house begins to reflect.
It's been 1 month since Kakarot has been trapped in a new time chamber created by Beerus. That sure was the biggest mistake they could make. If Kakarot hadn't defeated Jiren, all universes would have been destroyed. Those ungrateful! I need to get even stronger. Kakarot, you worm! I'm sure you won't give up, and I'll get stronger by the minute for when the big moment comes.
All the other warriors began to analyze everything that was happening, and began to think what could happen and why Goku was absent while Goku was sealed in the time chamber. All the other warriors believed that Goku was in an extremely exhausting training in the planet of Beerus or destroy Pain, Universe 7. Gohan beside Piccolo in their training began to realize that something strange was happening. Gohan says, "Mr. Piccolo, it looks like there's something strange going on around here. I need to think exactly what's going on. I can't quite understand it, but it doesn't make any sense. After I managed to release my hidden powers, I can perfectly feel Divine Ki, and for some reason, I can't feel my father's energy training on the planet of destruction. Is it possible that they have done something to him? No. Maybe it's really true that it's a training alongside Mr. Beerus and Mr. Whis. Let's pay close attention because at any moment we can make a wrong decision and end up rebelling against the gods. But let's wait. Goten and my mother are always asking about him. My mother has already said that he even forgot he had children and a wife. But I'm sure that for my father's absence, some extremely high reason must exist. Meanwhile, in the time chamber, Goku was increasing his powers more and more. Goku starts talking. "I don't understand. According to my Super Saiyan Blue and Ultra Instinct powers, I would certainly be able to raise my strength even more and get out of this time chamber very quickly. However, while all this is happening and unfolding, it seems that Mr. Beerus' energy was gathered, and with that, it became much stronger, causing the dimension to disperse. I can't understand how so many skills can be involved in so little time. So what do you mean that was it? So what do you mean? Was that it? Really, was there a goal? I will not forgive any of you who ended up causing this to me. The gods think that mortals have always been beneath them. The gods feel that mortals will have to be submissive to them. But this is not right. I'm sure the best decision has yet to be made. My true power will awaken. I know what I'm capable of. After all, I'm Son Goku, the strongest mortal in Universe 7. Goku begins to raise his power more and more, causing his strength to become extremely high. In the blink of an eye, all universes begin to perceive the great atmosphere of energy that has been shown. Goku was able to increase his powers more and more.
Vegeta, training directly of the planet of destruction, begins to notice. Vegeta has a smile on his face. Beerus gets serious. Whis just watches. Vegeta in his thoughts says, "It seems that the great mistakes of the gods is beginning to be created." Beerus looks at Vegeta and says, "Did you say something?" Vegeta responds, "Mr. Beerus, do you think it was really a correct idea to trap Kakarot inside the new time chamber?" Whis starts to laugh. Beerus says, "What do you mean by that, Vegeta?" At that moment, Whis looks and speaks.
Very well, Mr. Beerus. If I were you, I would think exactly about the things that are happening. Son Goku is very friendly with Sir Zeno-sama, and you know that the decision that was made by all the gods of destruction was a decision one little hasty. Well, they believed that after the end of the Tournament of Power, everything could be over, and the end of Son Goku would be very close. But even so, we can see that some things did not make any sense that ended up happening, and that would cause a great catastrophe to be created. Have you ever thought for a little while that instead of you solving the problem, you could be creating another one?
A furious Beerus tries to understand what Whis meant. Whis speaks.
Now, pay close attention. If Zeno-sama agrees with the ideals and has great merit for remembering Son Goku from winning the Tournament of Power, what would you imagine if Son Goku managed to reach unimaginable powers within that time chamber of yours and at some point wanted to take revenge on the gods? Zeno-sama wouldn't do anything because the gods of destruction cause balance, and Zeno-sama doesn't want weak gods of destruction by his side. That way, we can realize and understand that things can get a little bit more complicated, don't you think, Mr. Beerus? Imagine if Mr. Goku gets much stronger and ends up wanting to destroy you all.
Vegeta smiles and says nothing, just raises his ultra ego even higher and smiles. At that moment, Beerus furiously says, "This already happened, Whis. Or how do you think that Goku Black, who has another uncontrolled Goku, ended up destroying all the gods of destruction in his timeline? I'm already tired of it. When Zamasu saw Goku, he already saw a great opportunity to end everything. This really was the most complicated mortal I've ever met. He only always thought about getting stronger without imagining what could happen as a result. And that's it. Goku will challenge me again. I'll be really looking forward to seeing all of this. At that moment, I will see what will go." At that moment, a new explosion happens. Goku in the time chamber says, "Ha! Looks like I'm finally free! This power is incredible! Is this a new stage of Ultra Instinct?" Days and days passed in the time chamber. Goku increasingly raised his energy and felt that his body was no longer the same as before. Goku begins to reflect and remembers all the battles he had since the beginning of his life. His fight against Piccolo Daimao. Right after the battles that took place against the Saiyans, and until the moment he became a Super Saiyan for the first time, time passed, and Goku fought against Cell and against the androids and reached his highest level at the moment, which was the Super Saiyan 3, fighting and defeating the demon Majin Buu. The Earth experienced moments of peace. Goku began to reflect and says, "It seems like yesterday that it all happened. It looks like it was all a dream. I saw all that happening and managed to show my greatest potential. But as time went by, everything I trained, all the levels I reached seemed like nothing. All that I managed to show, I cannot understand. My Super Saiyan 3 power was nothing close to the energy of a god of destruction. The day I realized that Mr. Beerus didn't even use 1% of his power, he lied to me. He said he was at a 70%. That wasn't true. I managed with the help of the other Saiyan warriors to reach the form of the Super Saiyan God. That power was incredible, and it emanated over my body in an extremely high way. I am very grateful to Mr. Whis, especially for helping me to control the Super Saiyan God form without needing the energy of other Saiyans. So, I managed to reach the power of Divine Ki. That energy was incredible. But how can I thank Mr. Beerus, who always wanted to show and elevate his powers, believing in his supremacy and strength, and even so he started to end everything. Now, we won the Tournament of Power. We fought in fair combat, and what do I get from all the gods of destruction? This punishment. Ah! What do they want to do with my family? What if they want to do something with my loved ones? I cannot stay here.
Goku began to increase his powers even more and knew that the greatest evil could still appear, and that perhaps the true enemy was the gods of destruction. At that moment, Goku reflects and says,
I will not remain like this.
Great shudders begin to occur within the chamber. Goku raises his ki to the maximum level, reaching the Super Saiyan Blue. Huge shudders continue to occur until the moment when Goku activates his Ultra Instinct for the first time in the time chamber. Ultra Instinct, Goku's most powerful ability, the stage that even the gods of destruction can't easily reach. Son Goku begins to reach another level when remembering everything that had happened in another timeline. As it was shown that Goku Black ended up destroying everything, Goku explodes his energy and reaches his second stage of Ultra Instinct. Goku says,
So this is the power I need to end them all.
Planet of Destruction. At this moment, Beerus looks at Vegeta and says,
Vegeta, the gods decided not to do anything to you, but if you deviate from our line of reasoning, something more complex could be plotted against you as well.
At that moment, Beerus withdraws from the Planet of Destruction. Whis wonders,
And where are you going, Lord Beerus?
At that moment, Beerus says,
I need to resolve some things with the other gods of destruction. After all, they themselves said that they have matters to deal with, especially when it comes to Son Goku. This energy that has been emanating from all over a month doesn't sound strange to me. I know that soon Goku will break free and will want to make the most complex situation. I can't let that happen. So I'll take them out one by one before it's too late.
Vegeta watches and says,
What is Beerus trying to say? And one by one? He can't be thinking.
Whis reflecting says,
Mr. Vegeta, take it easy. Things haven't happened yet. If this is madness from the god of destructions, mortals will be allowed to bow or turn against them.
Furious, Vegeta just watches. Beerus leaves the Planet of Destruction and heads straight to the Grand Priest's palace. The High Priest at the reception says,
Are you seeing all of this, Lord Zeno-sama? What do you think? It seems that Goku's energy is increasing even more. What surprises me is even the gods of destruction making these decisions without asking you for permission. It even so that you continue to believe and think it's normal, letting them move their sticks. Very interesting, isn't it?
At that moment, Zeno-sama observes and says,
Daishi-kun, I'm just letting this happen because I have a lot of confidence in Goku's potential, and I'm sure that everything he showed in the Tournament of Power is not the maximum he can raise of his energy. So you can be sure that Goku will stay getting stronger and will finish them off. Once Goku starts acting up, we'll have a little meeting to really understand what's going to happen. This is exciting! Goku is the most powerful of all, and I'm sure his powers will make him able to finish off any other enemy. Goku is amazing! He's awesome! Justice will be severed and will served by mortals.
Zeno-sama's guards end up watching everything that was happening. Meanwhile, the High Priest says,
I understand, Lord Zeno, but maybe, depending on the moment, this could be something much more complex. Can you understand why maybe if this ends up happening, we can imagine that big conflicts can be created? Since Son Goku will go against the gods. Against the gods of destruction, however, they're still gods. He could also want to turn against us, Zeno-sama.
Zeno just keeps watching and laughing, responds.
Goku is cool and he's my friend. He would never want to do that. But if he does, he would get into big trouble with us.
The high priest continues to laugh. Meanwhile, in the temple of Kami-sama, another big explosion happens while the palm tree and Mr. Popo were in front of the new time chamber. Dende says,
What's going on here? I haven't felt such atmospheric energy like this in a long time. Is it Mr. Beerus again?
Note, while Goku had been imprisoned in a time chamber, Beerus had placed a seal on the time chamber and saying that if Mr. Popo and Dende dared to undo this sealing, the two would be destroyed. At that moment, Mr. Popo and Dende got scared when they saw that Goku had left there. Dende says,
Goku? How did you manage to do this?
Goku smiles at Dende and says, It doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm now here. I'm back after spending practically a millennium training in the time chamber. Now, I'll sort things out my way. Kami-sama's temple. Goku had managed to blow up the new time chamber that had been created by Beerus. Dende observes everything and tries to understand what was happening. Dende questions to Goku.
Mr. Goku, how did you get out of there? The Destroyer's power is extremely high. Did you manage to overcome it? What is happening?
At that moment, Goku observes and says, Dende, there are several things that are happening in the midst of this complex universe that are making the gods go crazy. If there isn't a mortal or someone who can end it right now, the end of all humanity, of all other beings will happen. I can't let that happen. After all, if the Earth is destroyed, all our bonds and all of us will cease to exist. It's time for the Saiyans to act again. Dende is just watching. Goku immediately teleports to the Capsule Corporation and sees Bulma alongside the other Z fighters. Goku says, Looks like you're all fine. Bulma watches and speaks.
Goku, you've been away all this time. What happened? What have you been doing?
Goku seriously responds, It seems like there's no way. It's always like that. They start making hasty decisions and always big catastrophes start to happen. But this time, it will be different. Just like I said, we will no longer be the pawns in this chess game. Bulma observes and questions.
What are you talking about?
Goku responds, That. During all this time that I was away, I was not training on the planet of Beerus the Destroyer, but I fell into a trap, and I was trapped inside the time chamber. But that's enough for me. Everything that ended up happening will have to come to an end. I will show my real power, and all my skills will now be raised. I reached the new level of our transformation that goes beyond the powers I showed in the Tournament of Power, and that will be enough to protect everyone. Bulma isn't shocked. Goku watches and responds. Now is the time for revolution! Planet of Destruction. Vegeta looks at Whis and says, Mr. Whis, in all this time I've been training with you, with Mr. Beerus being able to learn the Ultra Ego and several other skills that I thought I would never be able to reach. No, but now I believe it is now the time for us to part ways, as I feel that a great battle is about to take place. It seems that the gods of destruction have made their decisions, and since the tournament in Universe 6, this had already been clear, and we tried to clarify that mortals will no longer be pawns in this chess game. But it seems that nobody ended up trying to really understand this. Whis watches and says,
It looks like Tsuno's predictions were right. At some point, the time would come when the warrior of prophecy would bow down against all the gods of destruction. Now, The result of all this would be in the hands of all celestial beings. Well, let's wait. I think it's very difficult that Mr. Goku has not achieved another type of transformation, another type of skill. Vegeta watches and says,
What? Does that mean that Kakarot managed to get even stronger?
Whis responds, exactly that, Mr. Vegeta. If we think about it, Mr. Goku trained for a long time inside the time chamber. Of course, I say a long time because now he has certainly managed to escape from there and has certainly raised his power to a much higher level due to Mr. Beerus and all the gods of destruction having arrested him. Things will get even more complicated. In fact, the real order was that Mr. Goku be eliminated, but Mr. Beerus, for all the consideration and from everything Mr. Goku did for Universe 7, decided that Mr. Goku's life cycle was not supposed to end. But Mr. Goku, whether he wanted it or not, did nothing. He may have judged by another timeline that Goku Black managed to end everything. This made things start to get extremely more difficult, and then we would have to understand what the real objective would be and what Mr. Goku is really intending to do.
Vegeta watches and starts laughing and says, What he will do is the most obvious, Mr. Whis. He will surely start to onslaught of destruction on everyone. He will show his true power and real power. Kakarot is a good person, but whenever he sees a threat that could cause harm to his friends and loved ones, he decides to attack and show his true power. What makes you think that Kakarot will be so peaceful as to let the gods of destruction want to end everything and just on a whim? Want to imprison him in a time chamber when he hasn't committed any crime?
Whis just watches. Planet of destruction at the center of all universes, meeting between all gods of destruction. Beerus starts the meeting by saying,
Maybe it was a mistake to leave Son Goku alive, but I don't see the logic in wanting to kill the mortal who practically saved all the universes and had an extremely high performance in a tournament of power. Apart from the fact that he's Zeno-sama's friend, I don't understand why you are wanting to make this kind of decision. But this is a big mistake and can lead to very big catastrophes in the coming time.
Kitela, the god of destruction of Universe 4, says,
Beerus, you idiot! You think that you're always right in your decisions. If that Son Goku dares to show up here, I will literally finish him off! I don't care about anything. I will destroy anything!
At that moment, Belmont, the god of destruction of Universe 11, begins to reflect and says, I'm sure that this guy is nothing. The powers he showed against Jiren was really impressed me, but Jiren doesn't have the same power as a god of destruction. He was a mortal who maybe reached closer powers, but he wasn't able to reach Ultra Ego either. All of his skills was shown by his own energy. So if we stop to think about it, Goku might not be able to do anything. At that moment, a little more cautious Liquid, the god of destruction of Universe 8, says, Could see with my own eyes the skill that Son Goku emanated in the tournament of power. It is not normal for a mortal to be able to use the mastery of Ultra Instinct. This technique requires extreme ki control. It is necessary to have very concentrated energy. I could see exactly when Goku received the energy from the Spirit Bomb. He managed to dominate all that energy. It seems that an extremely high power emanated from him. If that was the problem of the tournament of power, we could understand, but until then, right after he managed to raise his powers even more without sucking the Spirit Bomb's energy, making his transformation stronger and stronger, he managed to defeat Moro, the wizard from the creation of Majin Buu, and even with the help of an angel Metis, he dominated his power even more. Don't forget that the angels are also in the Goku's side. Just as Beerus was about to speak, a teleportation noise appears directly on the planet of destruction.
At that moment, Goku appears in front of all the gods of destruction. The gods are frightened. Goku says, "Listen to me. Today I'm here to warn you. I will finish you off, one by one." The moment Goku speaks, a large Hakai thrown at him. But in the blink of an eye, Goku teleports out of the planet of destruction. The gods of destruction look on with an angry look and says, "How dare you!" To be continued. What is Goku up to in the face of all this? Will Goku alone challenge all the gods of destruction? So what do you believe is going to happen after all of this? Regardless of what it is more than important that you arrive here exposing in your comments so that we can enter into the crazy debate. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe here to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss any videos. And that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.